Hello everyone, my name is Ritesh Gupta and you're watching the Pen Tester Guy. I'm back with another video and after a long delay, we are covering the most latest topics that are being asked in Certified Ethical Hacker Practical Examination. And today I'll be covering the privilege escalation, the basics, and for that I'll be utilizing the Hack the Box Academy module of privilege escalation to make you understand that what actually privilege escalation means and what you need to do if you encounter any situation to escalate your privileges and what are the options that you can opt for or can perform to get the flag. So let's get started. This is my Linux distro. I have spin up the terminal and will be totally relying on the terminal making the connection to the target, and we'll be doing two privilege escalations. One will be the horizontal movement, another will be the vertical movement. All right, so for this we will first set up the connection with the target system. For that, I've already created a directory called hack the box. Here I have my VPN file, so we'll be connecting the open VPN. Okay, so we have established the connection. हम नया टैब ओपन कर लेंगे अपना. Okay, so ये हमारा टारगेट है, टारगेट आईपी और पोर्ट नंबर. Maybe there will be a case that you will not be provided with the port number, or there might be a case that you will have to connect to the target system with the specific port number. All right, so the privilege escalation is the part where we already have a shell to the target host, and after that we escalate our privilege either horizontally or vertically. So in this case also we'll be doing the SSH to the target IP on the specific port that is instructed by them, and we'll be solving these two challenges. The first challenge says that we have to SSH into the target system with on a specific port, and after that once we log in we will try to find a way in which we will be using or logging into the system as another user. So that will be a horizontal privilege escalation, and after that we need to find a flag.txt and we'll submit the flag inside that txt file. The another challenge is once we log in as a second user, that is user 2, we need to escalate our privileges to the root user, and there we'll find a flag that's in the root directory. This is a vertical escalation. This is possible by different methods, but we'll be following the simple one to make you understand, as this is the basics of privilege escalation. So we'll be simply doing the SSH to the target system. I'll copy the target IP. Since when we are going to SSH into a target system, we need to mention the credentials that are required to log in as what user to the target system. So the format is something like SSH. We will be logging in as a user 1. We'll be hitting the @ the host name. So this is the IP, and for this specific port to mention we'll be using the -p flag. So that's all how we are going to do the SSH into the target system. Now it is asking for a permission whether we are okay to continue connecting or not. So we'll hit yes, and now it has been asked to enter the password. We know the password is password1. Now in your scenario, of course, this is a common doubt or common question that how we will get the credentials. So there are two ways. You need first, either you have already provided a checklist or a word list by the EC Council, or from the previous question you have already identified some credentials which are valid, or you have to brute force the credentials using Hydra. So these are the options which you can opt for. Some of the relevant options are already discussed in the previous videos. You can refer them. for your information. So now we can see that we have been logged in as a user 1. If we write the command who am I, we'll get to know that we are user 1. Let me clear the screen. Now the question arises, okay, we are already into the terminal. We have spin up the bash and we are the user 1. We have the credentials. Now what? So from here you can check for sudo privileges for other users or the users on the system. For that we have the option of sudo -l. When you hit this, you will get credentials or information like there is a user 2 which can use bin bash and no privileges or no password is required to spin up the bash. All right. And in general, if we check for our own system, like for my local system, if we do the same thing, we'll get that we have all the privileges, right? All the user have all the privileges, and here I have the root privileges as well. So closing this, from here we get to know that we are able to spin the bash without the requirement of the password. And our initial task was, after logging in as a user 1, we have to find a way to move to user 2 and get the flag from home user2 flag.txt. So since there is a hint, we already know that there is existence of such directory, that is home home slash user2 slash. Okay, so what is this? Is a directory? Yeah, of course. Oh, okay, sorry for that. So we have entered into the desired directory, and if we do the ls to know whether we have flags or not, so we got that we have the flag.txt file. And if we try to cat it to look into what the data actually is inside this flag.txt, we'll get that permission is denied and user 1 does not have the permission to look into the file. Okay, so what we can do is we'll spin up the terminal as user 2 and we'll do the same thing. You will follow the same command to get the flag. For this, what can be done? So for this, since we know that we can spin the bash, we can give commands such as sudo -u flag for user. We need to log in as a user 2. Since user 2 doesn't require password for bin bash, we'll hit the command to spin up it. Okay, so now we can see that we are logged in as a user 2. We are into a bash shell as a user 2. If we'll hit who am I, you'll get to know that now instead of user 1, we are impersonating as a user 2. I'll be doing the same thing, going into the same directory. Since we are already in home or user 1, we'll go one directory back, and again we'll move to user 2. Yeah, user 2, and we'll get the flag.txt. And now if we do cat flag.txt, we'll get our flag definitely, right? So we have solved our first challenge of horizontal privilege escalation. We need to copy it, we'll paste it here, and we'll check. Okay, congratulations to you all that you have followed along with me, and we have solved one challenge. We have done our horizontal privilege escalation. Now the second challenge is quite basic but interesting. Maybe some of you will be aware about this, maybe not. So we'll be discussing what can be done to escalate our privileges to the root user or as a root user. Okay, so we'll clear the screen. So now the thought process will be what are the possibilities or what are the ways that a user can opt for to change his privileges to the user which is root. There are two steps, but I'll be discussing the initial one, and for the second one I'll be discussing in the later on videos. In the initial stages, we have a concept of secure keys, and we'll be using those keys to log in as a root user. Permission is denied. Let's try to switch user. Sudo -u user 2 will hit the bin bash, and now we'll again check, do we have any files? No. We'll go to the root directory. Do we have any files? We have flag.txt. We'll try to cat the flag.txt, which is already the flag we discovered. We'll move to the directory root to see whether we have privileges or not. So we are into the root directory now. We'll clear it, and in the root directory, do we have any flag? Yes, we do. We'll get it again to check whether we are able to get the flag or the secret data that is into the flag or not. So now what we can see is permission is denied for user 2. The challenge is to escalate the privilege and get the data or get the flag from this flag.txt when we don't have the permission. So when we don't have the permission, we have a directory called .ssh, right? In this directory, we have two major components that is handled. One is the RSA key, and the another is the authorized key directory, in which we have the key with the help of which we can log in as a root user. So how this is possible? First, we'll move into the directory .ssh, and under this directory, if we do list what other items are there, we get to know that we have the authorized key, this one. We have the id underscore rsa, and the third one is id underscore rsa dot pub. So when you create a key, then there are two things that is generated. One is the id rsa, and another is the id rsa public key. So we'll be utilizing the id rsa key, and if we do cat it id underscore rsa, sorry, rsa, we get a OpenSSH private key, right? And we'll be utilizing the user's private key to log in as a root user. Okay. Now the question arises, why we are specifically following this step? Aren't there any other method, or aren't there any other way to do this? Yes, there are other ways as well. We can utilize the authorized underscore keys. We can utilize the idrsa.pub, but those are other methods. This is the common method or the initial method which I would like to disclose, or I would like to let you know that you can utilize this to log in as a root user, which is the very simple way to log in or to proceed with. So what we'll do is we'll copy this OpenSSH private key. All right, we'll hit right click, copy, and we'll move to our local machine terminal. Here I will simply create a file that is nano id underscore rsa. Okay, and here we'll paste it, save it, control s, control x, exit. Now we have that this rsa key. This is private key of a user, and we'll be utilizing it. But before that, we need to update the permission for this specific file. So we'll change the permission using the change mod command, and we'll be giving the permission level of read write for this specific file. Okay. So this is for the owner. Owner have the right to create, modify this file, and we are giving the permission with port 600. After that, we'll be utilizing the same key to log in as a root user with the same credentials. So we can see that we are already logging here as a user 2. We'll try to initiate the same thing. We will do the SSH. We'll copy the IP here. Instead of here any user, we will be writing root at the rate, sorry for that, root at the rate our target IP, and For passing the key, we have a flag hyphen I and of course the file. So this is what we need to do. Let's hit the enter command and see whether we are able to log in as a root user or not. So again, we'll give the permission that we want to connect, and okay, we got that permission is denied for the target host. No issues. Let's do this by passing this specific port as well. The port is 5076. And great, we are logged in as a root user. We can see we have successfully logged in as a root user. So we have performed a vertical escalation as well. Let me clear the screen and again write a command who am I, and we'll be able to see that we are logged in as a root user. If we'll again hit the ls to find whether we have flag, yes, we do have flag. Now whether we are able to see the content of this flag, yes, we are. So we have got another flag by doing our vertical privilege escalation. We'll hit and paste it and we'll submit it. Congratulations to you all. You have learned two basic things of a privilege escalation. One is the horizontal one, second is the vertical one. For that, you have learned two major things. The one is you can log in as a second user by checking what other users have privileges. And in this case, the user 2 has a privilege to spin the bash. So we have spin the bash as a user 2 user and got the flag of the user 2 flag.txt. After that, we escalated our privilege using the private key of user 2 and logged in as a root user, through which we were able to do the vertical escalation and got the uh, root access or root privileges. Now the second, there is another step or another method what we can opt for. Generally what we see is let me change into the directory first. ls-la. Here we have this .ssh. We'll move into this directory and we'll cat this authorized keys. Okay, so we have this authorized key here, right? So I want to make you aware that what we can do is, if we have a permission to update this authorized keys as a normal user instead of as a root user. Right now we are logged in as a root user. That is why I was able to cat the authorized keys and I am able to manipulate it as well. But if we exit and log in as a normal user, we'll be passing the port that is 5076, and instead of this we'll be logging as a user 1. Fine, we'll hit in password. Okay, that was wrong. Password. If we move to the root directory, permission is denied. Sudo -u user2 spin the bash. Root, and if we now do the ls-la, we'll move into the directory .ssh. Now if we do ls, and now if we want to cat authorized keys, we'll see that we don't have permission to do it. So in this case, when we are not logged in as a root user, if you log in as a normal user and you still have the permission or the authorization to manipulate this file authorized keys, so what you can do is you can create one key that is public and private key of your own from the local system, and you can copy that into this authorized keys. So through that process, you will be able to successfully log in as a root user, as a privileged user into the machine. So for that also there is a reference into this Hack the Box Academy module, that when you generate your key using the SSH keygen and giving the -f flag with the name of that file, here in this case it is key, then you will be getting two things. The first one is the key, another one is the key.pub. So in this case, the first one is the id underscore RSA and another one is the id underscore RSA.pub. That is the public key. So what you need to do is you need to simply copy it and move into the directory of root.ssh, and into this authorized key you can paste it. After that, what you need to do is you simply have to ssh as a root user with the target IP. That is, in this case we have our 94.237.48.48, and we'll be passing the key, that is with the flag -i and the key that we have generated, and will be easily logged in as a root user. So these are two steps. One, I demonstrated you practically. Second, I told you the case that how you'll be able to log in as a root user. So that's all about the basics of privilege escalation. To make a concept clear that how you will be able to do a privilege escalation of horizontal as well as the vertical level. So thank you so much. We'll be back with another video on the advanced topic of privilege escalation with much more difficulty and deeper analysis. Thank you. For time being, keep supporting, keep sharing my channel. Need your support, need to grow the audience as well. Keep subscribing, and if you find my videos helpful into your exams or in your day-to-day challenges or activities, do subscribe my channel.